What's going on, guys? Kendall here for Renos for Pros and Joes, helping you simplify the renovation and remodeling process. So first of all, we're in a bathroom, and this bathroom has vaulted ceilings. We're going to be painting ceilings, walls, and trim. And the most important thing we want to do, first of all, with regards to painting our ceilings, is make sure that we have good coverage. So we're going to be spraying in this space, and the area down here below 8 feet, I would say, is the main portion of the room that we don't want to get paint on in this particular scenario, because we've got brand new tile shower enclosure here. We've got new cabinets here on my right side, new tile floors. Everything is basically prepped up and ready to go. And so we want to make sure that we don't get any overspray or fall from the ceiling on any of this newly completed work. And so we are going to be painting all of our walls. We are going to be using an extension to reach all the way up to the ceiling. And the other thing I want to also impress upon you is that we're not going to be as concerned with trying to keep the paint completely off of the walls, because we're going to be painting all the way up to the ceiling line once we have our ceilings completed. And so I just wanted to kind of show you around of what we've done here. Now, as you look around behind me, what you're going to see is that there are multiple or 2 tape lines that you will see consistently running through this space. And there is a reason for that. When I went to the store to buy the appropriate masking film, I made it a point to reach up on the proper shelf to grab it down, and it was marked 99 and it was in the 99 slot. But when I got back out here on the site, it was actually only 48-inch masking film, which means I had to run more than one piece. So the fact that you see 2 tape lines that run around the perimeter of this room means that I actually have 3 pieces of masking film here to make this complete. The floor is done in a completely different type of plastic altogether, so we won't include that as part of this. But as you can see, huge pain, and took up a lot of time going around the room and making 3 passes in order to get the same coverage we could have gotten with 1. So learn from my mistake. Make sure that you double check the film on the actual wrapper that it comes in to make sure that it's the right size. So in any case, right now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I have a good connection between my floor plastic and my wall plastic, because I don't want my plastic to move around too much as I'm going through here and trying to get everything situated. So I want to quickly show you what that looks like. So one thing that I've done in here is to try to make sure that we've got everything masked off so that we have an overlap from our wall plastic onto our floor, and then just periodically having some tape in different locations to make sure that this stays in place while we paint. And so, because you don't want to have a lot of movement on the floor and things like that, and that can pull the plastic down. You've also got everything covered here. And you can see up here where I was talking about, so we're going to be painting all the way up there, but we're going to paint everything all the way down, so it doesn't really make sense to try and cover all the way up to the ceiling like that. So we're going to mask that off, but we're going to be spraying everything completely, so we'll eventually get back to painting the walls in their entirety. One more thing that I wanted to mention to you guys with regards to painting like this is that masking off like this is an option regardless of whether or not you're spraying, rolling, or even brushing. And so in this particular instance, we are spraying everything, which does typically require a little bit more prep work, but basically you'd want to go through this same process even if we were going to roll the ceilings. With rolling the ceilings in a room like this, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because, as you know, when you're going to be painting a ceiling, you're going to have to cut in the perimeter here with a brush. And based on the height and angles of the ceiling, you're going to have a lot of ladder work, and you're going to have to be moving the ladder around a whole lot of different times in order to cover all of this ceiling area. And that's going to get taxing on you. And you're also going to have to try to avoid all of the obstacles in the space, like cabinets and the shower pan enclosure. We've got rough plumbing, piping coming through the floor here, windows and everything else like that. And so it's just easier if you're able to stand on a ladder and spray and cover a lot more area from one position. That way you can move the ladder and cut down on the number of times you've actually got to move it to get good coverage on the entire ceiling. Now, one other thing that I wanted to mention to you guys with regards to prep work is that I know that when you're doing projects like this, prep work can be one of the things that seems like it's taking forever. You're taking forever to get ready to paint. And that just kind of comes with the territory. But if you do a good job of prep work in the beginning, that makes painting so much easier. And one of the things that is really nice is when you're able to just move through the actual application of paint without having to stop and go back and do something that you should have done during the prep phase. And so let me just show you real quickly an example of this. So I'm gonna take you back in here into this one room. So this is the room where we've got the lavatory. So as you can see in this space, we've got everything masked off the way that we're gonna have it. And so, and don't worry about these light fixtures, by the way. They're not putting off hardly any heat at all. So I'm gonna step in here and show you what we've got in here in this lavatory room under my plastic here. So in this space, it's very narrow. And so you can see that we've got one contractor bag on the floor here, which is able to cover the entire width of the space. So you can see that we probably need one more bag like that, or we could even cut off a piece of plastic or masking film to get coverage on that. So, but that's not what I wanted to show you. So what I want to show you is that when we came in here, you can see that we have the fan housing here with the fan in it, as well as a globe light fixture and a vent, okay? So it would be very easy to jump from spraying the room that's out here that's already prepped and ready to go and try to jump in here and run into these issues. What you wanna do is make sure that you've got all this prepped up and ready to go before you do that, because you don't want to stop once you're on a roll. And by the time that you've painted the entire room out there, you're going to be on a roll, and this is just going to be a last little piece that you've got to finish before you're able to close down your ceiling paint application altogether. And so it makes more sense to just go ahead and do all of your ceiling prep at one time. That way you can go ahead and make one pass and cover everything, and then not have to come back and double back or stop and put your sprayer down or turn your sprayer off and put down your wand and everything else like that, and try to go back and jump back and use hand tools to take all this stuff down, taking your plastic bag out to wrap the light fixture or uninstall it, etc., etc., etc. So these are little things that you want to just kind of make sure that you're aware of and paying attention to, and just go ahead and just bite the bullet and deal with it before you start painting. Because it just makes for a much smoother job, which is going to help you keep a positive outlook on your project. Because sometimes when you're doing paint projects, this is a relatively small project, but even a job this size for someone who does not have as much experience, you can get into a position where you feel overwhelmed and the walls start to close in on you. So you don't want that to happen, and one of the best ways to do that is by keeping your momentum going and keeping your flow moving forward. Once you start painting, you'll get to painting soon enough, and you want to be in a position where you don't have to double back and go and do things twice, because that's when you start to try and cut corners and you end up leaving material in the paint tray too long. You end up leaving your roller over here and it's drying out. You leave paint in the sprayer for an extended period of time because you're trying to go back and pick up prep work again, prep work part 2, when there should have only been a part 1. And so I just wanted to share those little pieces and tidbits with you guys. I am going to also shoot a little bit of footage in here of just showing you how this is going to go, because in a space that's this tight, this space is approximately 10 by 10 with this portion of it right here, not including this bump out that goes this way or the room back in here, but it's kind of a tight space. And even with a 6-foot step ladder, it's gonna be rather difficult to get around and touch everything in here. So I've got this, and I've got a secondary ladder that I can use if I have any type of difficulty reaching some of these higher points in the ceiling, as I showed you before. So hopefully you found this video informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.